This video is about outlining or bringing to you the news that really the battle for the human being lies or resides within sex, precisely within our use of sex. Okay, this may seem as something strange and may come as a surprise. You may think that the battle over the soul or the battle over the human being resides in money, power, politics, war, etc. But drugs, maybe alcohol, gambling. But in truth, and esoterically speaking, the point where the battle for the human being is lost or won is within sex. But that is true that money, power and sex are the three things that cause anybody to fall in whatever sphere it may be, whether it's at the political sphere, whether it's in the home. So these three factors, power, money and sex, are what cause any human being to fall. Whether it be in a relationship, in a home, in a career, in politics, in any spiritual field. The pursuit of these three things, power, money and sex, cause the downfall of anybody in any field of life. But certainly in the spiritual sense, the place where the battle for the human being is won or lost is within sex. And why, you may ask, and I agree this may come as a big surprise, but the more we think about it, the more it makes sense. Because really the sexual force, unlike any other force within us, has the amazing power to regenerate us or either degenerate us. If we use sex wrongly, i.e. with lust, and we drive our sexual energy into more and more lust until it becomes like an addiction and a very compulsive behaviour, very soon everything in our life will get destroyed. It's very destructive, just as destructive as is alcohol or drugs. But if we use sex wisely, we channel that sexual energy for a higher purpose, a purpose outside of matter, say a purpose outside of money, outside of power, outside of more sex or the wrong use of sex, then our own sexual energies and sexual forces regenerate us, improve us, help us to change, open our mind, increase our intelligence, increase our vitality, connect us more to the universal spirit of life, to the source of our life, because the sexual energy is pure life. It is what creates life. So the more in touch we are with it, the more we are using it wisely, the more we are aligned with it, with its truth, with its creative power, the better for us. We're using the sexual force to regenerate ourselves, to bring more life to ourselves. So in that way, using the sexual energy wisely is really a spiritual practice, a high spiritual practice. And so the wise use of that sexual energy for a spiritual purpose really regenerates us and takes us far away from the downfall. Now when we're not using that sexual energy wisely, we're using it for matter, for evil things, or for things that are not going to benefit ourselves or others, then really we're starting to fall spiritually. We're going further and further away from a true spirituality. Because using the sexual force wrongly is against many spiritual principles. The sexual force is life itself, and when we're wasting the sexual energy, when we're mixing sex with violence, with alcohol, with all sorts of strange, more and more strange, twisted behaviours and habits and things like that. And then we're going against those natural spiritual principles of life. We're beginning to degenerate, and so we get further and further away from our spiritual source until we create something of our own which is very far away from the truth, from what is real, from what is spiritual, and we end up being like a miserable being in some sort of our own fantastical, perverted, twisted way of living, way of dealing with things. Okay, so what I wanted to impart upon you in this video is that the battle for the human being resides in sex. And what we do with sex is absolutely determinate. It either takes us up or takes us down. The sexual energy is very defined. It's a yes or a no. So sexual energy is really dynamic, volatile, radical. It will take you up or take you down. So just something to think about, that really the battle for the human being resides in sex. Okay, thanks.